friends talk with friends about TV, movies, and books. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Suspenders Unbuttoned Podcast. Today we have Dara, author of the new book, Chasing Wind, and well-known podcaster, Dear Hallmark.
Hi, Dara. Welcome.
Oh my gosh, we made it happen. I'm so hyped.
Finally.
This is going to be so much fun. Yes, how are you ladies doing?
Here. I'm good. My kids keep running down. They're playing laser tag right now. So they've already come down twice and we just went live. So it might happen again.
I'm just trying to figure out what's happening with the hair here. You know, that's too staticky and too fly away.
You're looking good, girl. You're looking good.
How are you? How's it going for you?
I'm good. Happy New Year to you guys. I'm chilling. I'm chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool. You know.
Yeah. Throwing it down, coming out of Philly.
I didn't even think about that when I said it. That's so funny.
Absolutely.
My daughter just got introduced to that show like 2 weekends ago.
Yes, Will Smith. Chad says hi.
Hey, Chad.
We have comments on the right side. We didn't go over that. There's comments on the right side.
So, Dara, if you look on the right, you'll see the comments come up.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Roxanne, in the place to be.
There's a party going on right here. So Dara, let's just start right out. So many people know you as just the wonderfully engaging, heartwarming podcaster, Dear Hallmark. But I'm going to say, let's celebrate your newest adventure and that you're an author.
Thank you. Yes. When I tell you, it still feels so awkward for me to say like I'm an author. Like it feels very weird.
Proud. Own it.
No, you didn't. I read it. It was great. I loved it.
Thank you.
Yes, the name of your book is Chasing Winds, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and
indeed.
You can find it on Amazon.
Yep, for both print and the ebook.
And
it's on Amazon.
I have the ebook.
So I bought the print because I like a good actual copy. So
yes, do you smell them?
And then I ripped it open and everything and started reading it. And I was like, I should have done an unpackaging, but like, what was I thinking? Yep.
Oh man, do you smell the books? I like when I get a new book, I like opening it and then I smell it like a print book. I'm such a nerd like that.
Yeah. No, I love books. Growing up, I remember my uncle would take me every Saturday to the bookstore and I'd get to pick out a book. And I've just had like a lifelong love of reading. Yeah. And unfortunately, I read a lot on my phone now with my Kindle.
Absolutely.
Because it's easier with my kids. Like if they're busy, I'll pop open my book and read for 5 minutes. But there is nothing like the smell of
a new book. So you were a reader. So that's really like, I think all authors are readers, right?
I agree. I actually interviewed an author. Before I started Dear Hallmark, I was doing a literature podcast called The Book Sale. And I interviewed this one author, and you'd be surprised. Some authors don't read because they don't want to be influenced by the author that they're reading, you know? But other authors, I find if they do read, they read outside of the genre that they write in. Right.
Mm-hmm. So we just had Karen on and she totally told us that she doesn't read in her genre. And I'm like, I get it. I totally understand that.
Right. It's honestly, it's the same reason I don't listen to tons of podcasts because I never want to this is just like this super small little podcast, but I don't want to ever accidentally take somebody's ideas. So I only listen to my favorites or
if there's some prep work that I want to do. We have a little different flow to our podcast than a lot of others do. So we kind of came to that because we came out of lives. That's how we went into podcasting.
That's right.
And so we have a little bit of that more natural conversation thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why I enjoy watching you guys' interviews because it really does feel like a conversation and we get to know more about the person, not just what they do. You know what I mean? So that's why I enjoy watching.
Thank you for saying that, Dara, because I feel like that's our goal.
Yes, that's very much our goal. Like some of our favorite things that we've gotten is because we were just having a conversation, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, our Andrew Walker piece that's my favorite is I just threw out that my husband yells out every time he goes running across the screen on Big Bang. And then he told us the entire Big Bang story. And I was like, that was an amazing story, right? That was a new story no one had. And that was super fun. But I will tell you that I was a podcast listener of yours before we ever even started lives. Like our whole social media presence is actually still quite new, and that we were looking at everybody else's social media presence. So I love your joy. So that's what draws me to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
It's contagious.
I appreciate that.
Right? Like you can feel it.
You.
Yeah. And which is why I think everybody is so happy to call you their family. Like, right? When you interview somebody, they're like, oh yeah, you're my cousin. Or because you're a joyful person and it's genuine.
So I think that emotion, that genuineness came through in your writing. What were you looking for when you were writing that book to really give to the reader?
This book is I'm gonna tell you why I did that, right? So this book, because the whole process, like it was a process. So even the idea for the book stemmed back when I was in college. So like 10, 11 years ago, I was struggling internally with some like emotional stuff, and there was this creative writing assignment that I had, and so I thought, what if one day I just woke up and I got everything that I wanted and I didn't have to deal with everything, you know? And so I wrote, I think it had to be like 10 pages or something like that, 10 or 20 pages. So I wrote that, and that kind of like spurred the idea when I graduated, what would this look like in, the real world without all the magical elements, because the creative writing part, it was a magical element to it. But what would it look like in the real world for a person who just graduated and they hated their life in essence? Like I struggled a lot with not being content with where I went to school, who my friends were, the fact that I didn't have a boyfriend, like all this other stuff. And I really didn't see the life that I did have, the friends that I did have, the college that I did go to. I feel like I took those things for granted. And so when I read this one book in the Bible called Ecclesiastes, I saw King Solomon was just like, he had all the money, all the women, all the land, all the cars or camels, whatever they had. Like back then.
The cars and the camels.
You know what I mean?
The cars and the camels.
The wheelbarrows, I don't know, whatever they had back then. But like he had all of that, but yet he said, what is it good for? And so that kind of, which is why in the book you'll see like each part starts with a different scripture of Ecclesiastes, because that's what really informed my postgraduate writing of the book. So what I want, going back to your question, Julie, like what I want readers to grasp from this is that discontentment is real. Like everybody deals with it, whether we want to admit it or not.
Absolutely.
Like there is something in our lives that we wish was better, cooler, brighter, bigger, whatever. But that there is a solution to that discontentment. So that was kind of my heart. And that's kind of where it came from, because I had to realize the solution to my discontentment didn't lie in the things, but in who God is. So, which I mean, that's something that I still like, I don't struggle with as much as I did when I was in college. But if I'm not careful, sometimes like if I scroll on Instagram too long, or if I'm looking at too many different kind of YouTube videos, like I can still find myself falling into some of those insecurities and discontentment. So
absolutely. I think that's a natural human trait. Yeah. I think everybody can relate to that.
Absolutely. And I think that's it comes across when you write, is that you show yourself, but I think people see themselves, pieces of themselves as they're reading. And as a reader, that engages me, and I can see you're just like, I can relate to this, or I understand that, or I find this uplifting, or and people appreciate that out of an author. And I enjoyed being able to see some of those paths that happen while you're reading the book. Really, everyone, you should order it. You can get it at Amazon. Once again, Chasing Wind. We're talking about Dara's new book, Chasing Wind. And you can get it in print and you can get it on your phone. What was the time? So I've never written a book. So we're going to talk about people who write and people who don't write. And, you're clearly a person who writes.
Right.
And most of the people we kind of hang out in our group, they all kind of like to write. And I'm not one of those. I am a huge reader. I write lots of things. But I say I'm a lister or a bullet pointer. Science and math are definitely my strong words. I actually write a lot.
What she doesn't realize is that her lists are like poetry.
It's
true. But keep going, Julie.
But so I always like when I can see things that are well written. So I really appreciate when people are doing something they're really good at, and writing full sentences is not one of the things that
Oh my God.
It's like not even, I don't even strive for it. I'm a critical care pharmacist.
I can have time for full sentences.
Angie, some of us didn't know they were writers.
Wait, don't you write reports and stuff? Like, I feel like there's a technical writing aspect that you could probably have a great grasp on. Maybe it's not like creative or whatever, but technical. I can't technical write to like I like
once
scientific
again,
writing. That's the
facts, ma'am. Only the facts. It's going to be part of a patient's chart, and so I literally am very good. And really my preferred point to write the facts. I actually am a fine writer. It's not an interest, but we have a lot of people who really enjoy writing. But there's a difference between enjoying writing and actually making it happen. And you took that last step to make it happen. How long did it take from the start of the book to making it happen?
And I want to know, Dara, also your first step. Like, what was the first step? You had the idea back in college. You kind of wrote it out, but like, what was that first big step that you took to turn this into a real novella?
Yeah. So there are at least 30 different iterations of this book, between hard drives crashing, computers conking out. I just wanted to give up and throw my computer into the Atlantic Ocean. But my godfather was like, no, ma'am, you are going to write this book. So the Pandemi Lovato happened. And then I thought, I'm like, okay.
Pandemi Lovato.
I got that from one of my favorite booktubers, by the way. When he said that, I said, oh, I'm stealing that. That is great. But so in 2020, when everything went down, I was already bedridden because I had torn my Achilles. And so I was already just in the house, just sitting there, like, twiddling fingers. And literally it was God like, so you gonna write this book or what? Like, what are we doing here? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, I think it's time. And I have two other friends who are writers as well in my church. We started a group chat to kind of encourage
I love that.
each other.
Me
in
too.
our writing.
I love that a lot.
Yeah. So I had to start from scratch, and it was just one night. I was like, well, ain't nothing to it but to do it. I just gotta start typing. And I think the biggest lesson that I learned is not to edit myself in the process, because I'm an editor by trade.
Yeah.
So it's like I find that I can, like, if it's not perfect, I don't want it. But it's like, Dara, you have to take your editing hat off. Just get into the scene, which is why I think Chasing Wind worked so well. But it was also so vulnerable for me to write, because I really put myself in the scene. I let my imagination go wild. And it's like, that's why you hire an editor, Dara. Like, that's why you're an editor. It's like, it's not supposed to be perfect the first time. Like, that's what an editor is for. So once I freed myself of that pressure, I was able to just let it flow. And then, Julie, what was your question about, like, you said, how did I, like, see it through to that end step?
How do you move along that path? I don't even know how it works.
Yeah. So I'm writing the first draft, or writing in general. And so I learned that wanted my cover to look pretty, so I hired a graphic designer.
Okay.
Because I just know my lane. I'm the writer here.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was going to need an editor, because when I take my editing hat off, I know it's going to look like trash. So I need someone to like look at my stuff, like chop it up as much as they can. And then the third person, or the third element to it, is interior formatting. So making like the chapter headings look pretty, making sure everything fits in the guidelines. And so that's kind of on the pre-production process, I would call it. And then actually like self-publishing it, it was just a lot of research. I had published a book in 2019, like a little short book, kind of like as an appetizer or a tester. It's called, I have it, oddly enough, and I promise you I did not do this on purpose. I have it right here.
Sure.
Like,
show it to us.
Like,
show it, let's see it.
Whatever.
Now I need to read this appetizer. Inhale. Oh, I love this.
Inhale.
It's called Inhale. Yeah. And it's a collection of poems and short stories. And I did some research on like self-publishing platforms and what would work in terms of the look that I wanted to go, how much money I wanted to get from each book, like how much royalties you would get, different things like that. And so having already went through that like publishing research, I kind of went into this knowing having a clearer direction than I did the first time in terms of who I wanted to go with the publisher. But funny enough, I just saw my book for the first time in its physical form on Sunday. I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen it. I was so done. When I tell you I was done, like I was done. I was like,
so how did you see it? You never ordered a copy for yourself, or?
No, I just put it in the hands, and I was just like, I think it's going to turn out great. The graphic designer did well. I know what a matte cover looks like. So I was just like, boom, there we go. And then when I saw people like posting it, I was like, oh, it turned out nice.
Because I even used it to make our like Instagram post. I used your cover and faded it down to be the background. I loved it, and then grabbed the colors off of that to make the. I mean, it turned out beautiful.
It was
way to hire a good graphic designer.
Okay. So tell us, why did you all of a sudden just see it on Sunday? Like, did somebody give you a copy? What happened? Did somebody beg you for an autograph? Because that's going to be me in June.
Yeah, I'm bringing mine too.
Stop it.
No, I'm totally bringing mine in June. It's on my
calendar. Okay, you
There's
can't tell,
be
but
a
I'm
line like Gabrielle needs to get Dara a table.
Dropping my stuff. Yeah, no, I'm totally bringing mine. You're signing for sure.
Oh snap! Okay. Oh,
oh snap!
Right. But no, one of my housemates, she ordered a copy, so I just went into her room. I was like, "Hey, can I see my book?" She's like, "Yeah, you okay?" I was just like, "Yeah, I haven't seen it yet." She was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, this looks really nice. Here you go." And then I left. Yeah, that
was you're in June to sell.
You're a writer. You're patient.
Amen. Yeah, I think because it was so much going on, like internally, and I was so close to the deadline. I didn't know if it was going to actually print, but it actually came out 2 days earlier than what I was advertising. So I was like, and then Christmas Con happened, and that was just crazy balls. It was just like so much. And then I immediately flew down to meet my mom. So it was just like, it was a whirlwind that week. And that's why I was just like, I just need some time away. So I binged all those Christmas movies and binged some Hallmark mysteries, and
right.
I was like, okay, I think I can, I think I'm ready to get back into, seeing what this book is about and seeing what it looks like.
I loved it.
It's beautiful. So how long though did that take from like starting to write to actually getting it published?
If we take out procrastination and laziness, maybe 8 months.
Okay.
Wow.
Because the editor took 5 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks, depending on what was going on with her. And I had 2 rounds of editing. And then the graphic designer got that thing done in like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I love your cover.
Wow.
Thank you. And the interior formatter, funny enough, she's the wife of the graphic designer. So they're all there like, you got that? Like coordinating with each other. And that took probably a week and a half. So most of it was literally just me sitting down, being disciplined, writing.
And writing.
Okay.
And writing. And writing.
I do love that though. I love hearing that story. Were you excited when you saw the cover?
I was. I stared at it and I didn't cry, but I stared at it for like a longer time than I care to admit. I was just
no.
It's like your baby.
It took my breath away.
Right.
It was gorgeous. Yes. It was so gorgeous. And I love that he allowed me to, it was almost like a collaboration. Like he offered, if I would have showed you what the original one looked like, it looked like a horror. It looked like a thriller or a horror book. And I was like,
no,
that's not the vibe that I was going for, you know? So,
come on.
Yeah. But that cover is gorgeous. I really do love it. I do love it.
When I made the little Instagram, Sarah right away was like, "Oh, I love the way that looks," and I'm like, "I just used your cover." Yeah,
it was perfect.
Yeah.
Chad is saying that you need to bring some books to Rama Drama to sell.
Oh,
I really hope that happens.
Right.
Chad will get his way, I think.
Yeah, you need to talk to Gabrielle and get a little spot to sell some books and sign books.
Even if it's for
I bet
one
we
day.
won't be the only ones bringing our books for you to sign at Rama Drama in June. There's going to be others who are going to want that signed.
Oh my gosh, you can't tell, but I'm blushing. Oh my god.
I
want to know. Oh, go ahead, Julie.
I love to celebrate that you've been able to get that accomplishment done, and you wrote such a beautiful story. So
thank you.
I'm just over here wondering how the sequel is going.
So about that, like what had happened was I didn't.
Oh, that's so about
that. You're a wedding.
Yeah. Oh man. Yes, Angie, you need to go to Rama Drama.
Absolutely.
Let's go to Rama Drama.
Let's go.
Yes. I don't know if there will be a sequel. I don't know. I was thinking about actually doing a prequel, like, because I know some people were telling me that they wanted to know more about Sydney's backstory and like what happened
prior to
that even made her make this vow to herself that she'll never ever, let herself go through that again. So I was even thinking about doing that, but we'll see.
I think people want more to the story, before and after. So bring it.
I got to do a prequel and a sequel. Okay. Yes,
Chad's bringing his book. He did an unboxing of Amazoning of his book. It was beautiful. I was beautiful. Like, I had mine open and I was like,
maybe I'll do it because I only have the ebook, so I'll be ordering the hard copy.
Chad is hilarious. First of all, the sequel is titled "Break and Win." Thank you. But wait,
Breaking Win.
A whole mess. I love you. Oh my gosh.
Chad.
Boys will be boys.
I feel like that's what my boys would have said.
Yes, for sure. I got 2 boys. You've got 2 boys. Chad, we're throwing you in with the boys. Oh my gosh. Might not be 12,
Dara,
but
let me get. Did you go to school? Did you go to school for writing, or was your degree in something different?
So I did undergrad for English, but I went in undecided. It was actually I was either going to do English or public relations because I saw myself as like, I need to be this boss lady, like a little bit like Sydney. I need to be this boss lady who comes in with a briefcase and heels and just. Yeah. But I realized it was twofold. Like one of my professors, I saw his passion for British literature. And it just lit a fire in me. I was like, yes, I love reading too. And I love Britain. And I love, all of this. Right. So it was that coupled with one of my first writing assignments where I had to write about my life. And so I'm sitting in the library just like, I'm boring. Like nothing happened in my life. Like, how can I make this interesting? And then the idea of actually writing about my parents' divorce came to mind. So I called my dad. He was like, just to ask him if it was okay if I could write about it. And so writing about it in the library was the first time I actually had the chance to emotionally process what had happened. Because when it happened, and that was like 2005. And so when I did this assignment, it was like 2008, 2009. So for like 3 or 4 years, I just kind of was just pushing everything down. But seeing, like when I was writing, seeing the how therapeutic it was and how much of a release it was, that's what I was like, English is the way to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I majored in English in undergrad and then got my master's in interior architecture.
Oh, I love that. That's a jump, but I love it.
Love you. Oh my God.
Oh, that's a plot twist.
I love. And are you using that degree?
No.
No. I mean, I'm not using mine either. So.
I mean, it.
Yes, you are.
I
Sort of.
I will say this though, I would do it all over again because what I learned in design school in terms of public speaking, like because we had to do so many presentations and even learning like visually, just the visual arts of things, which I feel like it helps me when I design my graphics for different things for Dear Hallmark. And even just what I went through, like how I grew as a person. When I tell you I cried every semester, I did not go through a semester without bawling or crying in the bathroom. But like I think I would do it all over again because of just who I was like after I graduated. Like
Right.
So I don't regret it at all. Even though I don't use it.
I think different pieces in your life help build you, whether that was specifically where you're at or not. It help you find help you bring you to where you're going to be. Yeah. So it's often like people often talk about it, even like how they don't do anything with sports, but how sports help them see how to make a long range plan or work together, things like that. Being involved in the arts and how to, set your own timelines or things like that. They just give you all the things you do in your life play into what you have going on. So, well, we're just super excited about your book, and it's just a huge deal. And I want to personally say congratulations.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know, I've been cheering you on all along.
I know.
So, yeah, I'm so excited. I'll never forget the first time I jumped on one of your lives and you were like, suspenders unbuttoned. And I'm like, how does she even know who I am?
I was watching.
But I'm like, I was just like jumping in your live. That was fun. But yeah, so we're proud of you.
Thank you.
Really proud to be able to call you a friend too. So
yes, thank you. I love you, ladies. Thank you so much.
I think everything you do is gold. Your podcast is great. Your graphics are great.
I'm overwhelmed.
You're just wonderful. So
bless you.
We love you.
Oh, I love you guys too. I promise you, I'm going to scream at Rama Drama when
we are all. I think it's going to be a scream fest.
Julie and Catherine, I know you can hear me. Catherine,
she can. She's looking at you.
Yes,
I think I'm more excited to see like all of like you guys than I am the celebrities. So there's that. Like Gabrielle, like I just think she's just like freaking awesome. So, like, I can't wait to meet her.
We are like Gabrielle fans, man.
Yes.
I love her.
And it was that interview.
Yes.
I think that was the first thing I watched of you guys. And I was just like, who are these women? Who are these people? And I promise
she was our first. Was she our first? Oh, she was our second interview.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love things that you learn along the way when you're podcasting is I have enjoyed meeting people, like connecting like this has been so much fun and learning their stories, and each one impacts you differently. And I work with a lot of powerful women who are driven, smart, and just live in this, like that type of land, but it's in healthcare. And I love seeing those same women in a different setting or coming to it in a different way. And when we've been going along, she was the first one. So she was our second podcast, but she was like, you are my people, but in a different place. And and I loved seeing that. So it's been a fun
I think she gets an honorable mention on like almost every podcast that we have. Like we're just so in awe of her.
Right.
No, literally,
So
literally. Like when I was in a low moment, because right now I'm freelancing in terms of work. Whenever I was in a low moment, I always watched that interview, and I watched her. No, literally, like I would put it on, and I'll just be like, Gabrielle did it, so I can do it.
Yeah,
So
she's inspiring.
It's so inspiring, so inspiring.
She is inspiring.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That
Like I
focus and
always
that
say, I want to
drive.
be her when I grow up. So
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, and then how about who we want to be when we grow up? So we both were podcast watchers or listeners, and so we certainly watched you and listened to you. How did you start podcasting?
Okay, so I've always listened to podcasts, but I always thought they were some like complicated studio radio setup. And in 2018, I found this platform called Anchor. I saw it on Facebook ads because they were probably listening to me complain about how I podcast. And then this ad probably came up. And so I was like, what is this? You're able to podcast. And I genuinely love this platform, but you're able to like use your phone and so when I was thinking just like do a podcast. And I tried it. And at that moment you could only do like 5-minute segments, which was great because I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. I just know I had opinions about stuff and I just wanted it out there. So I remember my first podcast episode was 2018. I talked about my favorite albums of 2017. And that started like my whole podcasting journey in a sense. And from then I did I started a publishing company too.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had a flagship podcast for that called Avenue 89, which is just another way for me saying like my lane, because I was born in 1989.
Nice.
But I had a flagship podcast for that where it was literally just the kitchen sink of stuff. And then I started a literature podcast in March of 2019.
I feel like I need to go back and listen to that one. What was it called?
Oh, it's called the literature one?
Yeah.
The literature one is called The Book Sale, and sale is SAIL.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah. And then I started a music one with my brother in 2020. And then with the Hallmark stuff, I was not planning to do a podcast because I'm like, I already got 2 podcasts already. I was straight. I was just content with doing YouTube. And then one day, my brother from another gonna share my review in his stories. His name is Tyler Hines. And he shared my review of It Was Always You in his stories. And literally and I told him this when I talked with him at Christmas con, like I was in such a low moment at that point. And when I woke up to like all of these notifications, I was like, what just happened? Like what's going on? And so I see like when people started following me from that, they wanted to know my thoughts on other movies. And I was like, well, I can't make all these YouTube videos. So I thought, okay, why don't I make YouTube videos for the new release movies? And then the podcast would be for all the back, like the older ones. And so that's how the Dear Hallmark podcast kind of got started, is that people just wanted to know what I thought about older Hallmark movies. So, and it's now evolved into this thing. And I'm just like, what in the world is going on?
I feel like we can relate to that because we kind of started as an accident too. Like we weren't intending.
We were just a slippery accident.
Like not even a little bit ever had this in my plans.
I love that.
It was a complete accident. So yeah, so we relate hard to that.
Well,
how did you guys even connect? Like, how did you guys even find each other to do lives?
Okay, so it's a little bit of a long story, so I'm going to try to go fast. Well, we were big One House Apart fans, right? Mm-hmm. And we're Team Nathan, very obviously, and we were all part of the Team Nathan Facebook group, which was like this really wonderful group of 5,000 people or something.
Amazing people.
We would
big hearts, lovely.
Talk about the show, and to me, it was like being back in college and being in my English lit classes, and we would like overanalyze, and we talk about these references that reminded of like, literature or like this and that. And it was just like this kind of really fun community to be a part of. And
there were so many books.
I'm a stay-at-home mom. Yes. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have my middle child has special needs. I had all the kids home, and I was homeschooling all of them at the time. So for me, this was like a little mind break, right? For Julie with her, she's got a real huge job. So like, it was like an escape. Right. So anyway, one day, Gabby, who is still on maternity leave, but she kind of pulled us all into a group chat, and that's how the friendship started. And we've been on, IMs for however long ago that was, forever. A little more than maybe a year or two. And then I just one day said like, hey, started as an IG page. Here we go. And then from that, we went live and people followed us. And then the season 8
literally made us an Instagram page and said, sign on, everybody, and start dropping your thoughts here.
And we would all just like post like whatever we were thinking about the episode.
I love that.
Yeah. We would go live, and then people would say like, hey, we like your lives, because we are pretty funny together, especially when you add Gabby. She's our snarky one into the mix. And then people asked for like podcasts, and we're like, that's weird. And then actually Roxanne had us on her podcast, and we had just kind of like finalized like our little plan of action, and that sort of kind of pushed us a little bit to kind of start it.
Moving along. Yeah.
Y'all are thriving right now.
And we're having fun.
We're having fun. We do books, movies, and TV. We were never super narrow. When we heard that The Wedding Veil was going to be a trilogy, we actually did The Wedding Veil, it's been the Long Tall Texan. It's been renamed like 20 million things, but it was the inspiration for the first Wedding Veil movie. It's not the same, but we read the book and did it as a book club on Instagram Live, and oh my gosh, people laughed so hard. It was so fun. It was really fun.
I love that.
It is not a Hallmark book.
No,
just
that's what I heard. I said,
you can skip the pages. We warned people.
Although if you want to hear me reading something, go back.
We literally have 6 hours of Instagram Live for this book club. She's losing the water. We've got gifts that came out of there. We've got. There's a trip to Home Depot. No, Lowe's. A trip to Lowe's.
Right. Pipes and wood. Like there's a lot of funny things that happen from there. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was very fun. So we are kind of all broad. So although we're based out of a Kevin McGarry, really, it was a Team Nathan, and really we're a Kevin McGarry fan page. That's very much our foundation. But we're actually, really books, movies, TV, and all the things associated with it. And so
love it.
Yeah. So we have a focus and a broad range.
Right.
So it's hard to, we're a little unbuttoned.
We are a little unbuttoned. Which is where the name came from. Contrary to popular belief, it's not just about the unbuttoned serge or shirts or whatever. It really is because our focus completely unbuttoned. So
I like that.
We're a little
I definitely thought it was because of Mr. McGarry.
Did you watch The Wedding Veil?
I did.
Yeah, you watched The Wedding Veil? So
I haven't had a chance to listen to your review yet on that. So
I didn't put it up yet.
You didn't? Okay, so I didn't miss it.
I can't look him in the eyes on the screen. I don't understand what is going on. I just like, wow, like God, I know you're good, but like this, like
right.
What is happening?
Plus, costuming, the wardrobe girls just nailed that movie.
Okay, can we talk about the outfits? Because
we're going to talk about you, but we'll get distracted, man. Those outfits.
Yeah, I don't care. Like that was the best wardrobe. Every outfit I said, yep, I want to wear that. I want to wear that. I'm gonna wear that. Her gala, her look,
everything.
So fun fact, she's coming on right after you.
Oh, I know. Oh, I'm ready.
Come on in. Yeah, you come back into the comments because we will.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, absolutely.
Ma'am.
I've never been so pumped to have a costumer on. And the funny thing is I have so many questions because so my youngest child, he was best dressed in high school, and Kevin McGarry's wardrobe was literally, Josh has all the pieces to that wardrobe. And when he walked out in the royal blue jacket, I was like, oh my gosh, his senior pictures were in that royal blue jacket. I was just like, I'm like, Joshua, and then she's like, what's up with the suede boots? And I'm like,
that was me. I'm like, I don't know if I like the boots. I liked it the second time, by the way.
Okay.
It was the
I'm like,
time.
all the guys are wearing those, and I just bought Josh a new pair from Macy's for Christmas. Like, she's like, oh, I'm like, I know. Don't you think that I'm going to ask, we're going to ask, but there had to be a different budget for that movie.
I'm just like, what? We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
No,
I don't.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Like, I
would steal that. Dara said, we're not in Kansas anymore.
We're not. Like, this is completely different.
I agree.
This was something different. I can't even.
It felt like a real movie, didn't it?
Right.
Yes. It felt like a real movie.
Right.
And can I tell you, I lie to you not, after I watched this movie, like, I promise you, after I watched this movie, I went on to the Philadelphia Art Museum website and I applied for a job. I'm not playing. I was like, this movie made me want to work in an art.
we like to go to the Minneapolis Institute of Art, the MIA. Yeah. Not missing in action, but
yeah.
But it is literally called the MIA. So we love to go there too. I love seeing the art pieces there. But so some people are clothing people, right? Mm-hmm. And I have a child who is a clothing person. I have two that are great clothing people. My daughter is fantastic. My son, best dressed, and that kid literally has everything Kevin had on. He owns that entire wardrobe. And my mom is super girly, and then I'm not. And so I love the stuff that they had, the women dressed in. You could see so many things. I have to wear something for a wedding. My daughter is getting married, and I could
congratulations.
Thanks. I could literally, my coworkers are like stressed out because I do not have something to wear. And I'm just like, people, it's not going to be like the mother of the bride gown. That's for sure. It's not me. That's not happening.
I think you should go with a nice pantsuit, like a fashionable one.
I will probably wear a dress, but I do wear dresses. The last time I probably wore one was my son's wedding. It's still hanging in the closet.
How long ago was that?
When was that? It'll be 3 years. Nope. Owen's turning 3, so it's going to be longer than that. 5 years ago. He graduated from college and they got married. So 5 years ago.
Oh man.
Ago. I don't know. But that one dress is still hanging in my closet. And I won't say that. We have a walk-in closet. It is not mine. I have the little linen cupboard. My husband has the walk-in closet.
Oh wow.
Like that's how much it's an issue. Huh? It's true. 100% true.
I have to say, ever since COVID, I just live in leggings and sweatpants.
Yeah. No, and maybe that's why I have never seen people so excited over a wardrobe in a Hallmark movie ever, right?
No, I've never seen the hype before, but also maybe I'm biased. I don't know.
But
I honestly think they never brought it to this level before.
No, they didn't. I can't wait to hear what Geraldine has to say.
Oh, me neither. I'm excited.
Okay, wait, so Dara, can you remember another movie where like there was this color palette that was continued, like this one? I feel like that doesn't happen
so cohesive
either, right?
It was very
Christmas
cohesive.
movies are all in Christmas colors, but I feel like
I'm thinking of the first movie that came to mind was a little daytime drama. I'm trying to think because Jen had really nice outfits in that movie.
Oh, except for the yellow. I was not a fan of that.
Yeah, that's cute, but not that one. Oh god. I
love that she just went like, except for the yellow.
Right, it was the yellow jacket. It's like that big yellow jacket. Didn't love it.
I like that purple pantsuit she had, like in the beginning with the cutout in the back. I thought that was really
I mean, Jen always looks cute. She's so cute.
I mean, she's cute. So, right.
Yes.
And so, but no, I can't think of anything else. And I've never seen fans that excited about wardrobe, or
they
the color
killed it.
palette, or even the look about how things were filmed, about a Hallmark movie or anything in that drama, no matter what channel it's on. Except for this movie. It is very unique. This movie brought a very unique feel to it.
I agree.
And plus, we haven't seen Mr. McGarry in like a year or so.
Forever.
Or like,
yes.
Like where is he? Outside of When Calls the Heart.
I don't know how we run a fan page for him because there's very little content.
Pull in. I mean, he actually has a lot more stuff than say some other people, even out of that show, like are not as involved. I mean, because he's got those years on Heartland and you know, Open Heart, and then he has multiple Hallmark movies and Christmas movies too. Yep. So I mean, he just has this. It's interesting in our Facebook group. We have a very wide variety of people that come in from fandoms from all over, and I think everyone crashed the Weddingville party because holy buckets, that was a lot of fun when that aired.
4.2. Yeah.
That tickles. I'm sorry.
That tickles.
I haven't heard that phrasing before.
Oh yeah, you've never heard that phrase before?
No,
my grandparents said that. My parents. Catherine's looking in the back. She's just like, "Holy buckets, so Minnesotan." Oof, I can bust out my oofta.
Oh my gosh. Y'all are fantastic.
Well, since we're talking about like regional things, we've got to talk about the accent really quick. I want your hot take on the Boston accent.
Here is what I already filmed my review.
Okay.
So this is how I described it. So when you go to a soda fountain like that, how you have the cola, the lemonade, the water, all of that. I know that's such an old school term. Oh my gosh. But and so you go to the lemonade part to get out lemonade, and you see it coming out, and then it turns into water, but then it turns back into lemonade, and then it turns back into water. Like that's how I felt.
I know where you're going with this.
That's kind of how I felt like the accent was, because I was like, and then he was the only one doing it, so I was like, okay, that's a choice, like that he's doing it, but Lacey wasn't, or no one else was. And that he was going in and out of it. But I just watched an interview he did.
Yeah,
and you watched it?
Yeah.
And he was saying how he didn't do it for long because he was trying to make it mysterious in the beginning so that you wouldn't know where he's from or whatever. But I could have done without it, to be honest. I'm just like, I can just listen to you talk regular, But
I'll tell you what, I'll give you my hot take. Being from Rhode Island, which is I'm like 40 minutes from Boston. My dad and my brother work there. My dad has a slight Boston accent. We all do. It's very similar. I think he did a pretty damn good job with it because it's true, it doesn't come in every word, and you get certain words it kind of comes and goes, which is why people didn't hear it until he was getting passionate. And when he was getting passionate, it was coming out more during his speech. But if you go back and listen to the first line he has at the taxi, it's right there for you. You just have to listen because it comes out slight. So at first, when I first heard it, I was like, no, don't do it. No, stop. Don't do the Boston accent because I hate watching it on TV. But people don't realize that not everybody sounds like they're from Southie. So I think he did a good job overall. He sounded like people I know in real life.
Oh, there you go.
I give him props for it. I think it stood out because nobody else did it. So I feel like
right.
I feel like somebody like maybe his mom.
At least his mom.
Should have done it. But I appreciate and before I even heard this interview, we've talked about it. We were like, he did it to make it a challenge for himself because it's a Hallmark movie. You've got to challenge yourself somehow, right?
Something.
So I appreciate that he did that too. I also think it's generating tons of talk over all the Facebook Hallmark groups. Everybody's talking about this movie in the accent, and people are watching it that didn't watch it to hear it. So I think it was a good choice overall.
It might be genius, actually.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's talking about him, right? So
right. And anything to come on our screen some more there, because somebody needs to make more decisions about that happening across our screen. It's fun, when we are kind of one of the spots that people stop on the social media route, new people coming through. And one is a big Hallmark reviewer and had never reviewed a Kevin McGarry film. And all of a sudden she's like got a million questions. She goes, how come I didn't know I needed that man walking on my screen? And I'm like, exactly. She's like the hands in the pockets. Who knew I didn't know I needed that in my life?
I have to take him in doses. Again, I can't look him straight in the eye on the screen. Like he's too much. Like he just be McGarry and all over the place. And I can't take it. I just can't.
Right. Yeah, and the Wardrobe Girls, that they understood the assignment, and I believe I posted a post that was
you did
understand the assignment. They understood the assignment and understood the assignment with the girls. That was fun. But yeah, so I can't wait for your podcast to come out. That, I mean, once again, that's how we first both saw you, was doing your podcast, reviewing movies. So that's super fun. That we'll wait to see that. We're actually talking, because we actually haven't done a podcast on it, and we actually might go back to our roots and do an Instagram live, just to chat.
Yeah.
Just to chat. Because it's something like when all of a sudden we're like together and we're like, well, this works for me now, and we'll be like, okay, and then we'll just get on.
So one of these days we'll just randomly be live.
Speaking of random Instagram lives, we had the random one with Danica McKellar and Neil.
Get out of my head. I was literally getting ready to talk to you about that, because I was like, how did you I remember, like, Sarah, you said you were picking up your kid.
I was like sweating. Like, how's this happening to me right now?
Oh my God.
I'm like cleaning. We were supposed to be at Rama Drama, right?
Yeah.
So I was off. I wasn't at work.
I knew Julie was off. And
my phone is like, who knows where, because I'm like digging through my craft supplies or whatever. And I pick up my phone and I like have a 2-minute warning. We're going live with that. There's this whole discussion. I'm like side messaging her. What is happening?
So we had shared something for the movie because we obviously are fans of Danica's, right?
Right.
I don't even know if we really knew Neil at that point.
I knew of him. I'd seen him in I'd seen him in the carousel, and I'd seen him in Danica's movie for sure.
And then we just posted it because we really love what GAC is trying to do over there on that network. I love their kind of philosophy and the way that they're trying to involve the fans and all that. So anyway, Julie, I think you posted the story. And I was running around with my kids all day.
So
and
I literally posted the story, and it wasn't up like a hot minute, but I must have just set my phone down and went downstairs.
Yeah. And then I get an alert. I'm driving, and it pops up, and I happened to be stopped at a stoplight. So I looked down at my dashboard, and it says Danica McKellar messaged you, and I was like, sorry kids, we gotta pull over.
Messaged us.
Thank you so much for supporting my movie. And I'm like, anytime, hey, if you ever want to come on the podcast to promote something, we're here for you. And then she writes me back. I'm pulling in my garage, and she's like, give me 5 minutes and we can go live for 30 minutes. And I'm like, okay.
And then she's like, let me see if Neil's available.
Let me text Neil and get him on. So we couldn't even say, Gabby kept trying to join in the live, and I'm like, I can't let you in because
there's 4 of us.
Neil is joining. So yeah, that was so
we
fun.
couldn't say because we didn't know when he was coming. We didn't have enough time to even drop it in our chat.
I had my sweatpants on.
So I literally have leggings. I did nothing with my hair. No, I grab a sweater, pull it on, and I'm like, okay, let's go.
I love that. Oh, I love that.
And then we didn't have to talk because she was on a mission and she knew what she needed to say.
Yes.
And
I mean, you put them two together, they run the show.
We were just there to nod. I love having them on though. So speaking of those power women, she's it, man. I love seeing her in her element. And and we got to meet Neil. So once again, we'd seen him, but I just didn't have and now fans for life. Fans for life.
We did have our podcast scheduled with him before this. So we did know Neil.
Yes. Yeah, we did. But but we hadn't talked to him yet.
We
right?
had not talked to him.
Right. So we had that scheduled. Then I'm like, are we doing the podcast or not still? And so she messaged
I'm glad
him.
you still did, because he was a trip and a half. A trip and a half.
I mean, we're still laughing over the things he said.
Like, I go back to your clips on Instagram, like, yo, he a fool. He a punk. Like,
So
he is
funny. He's so engaging. He's smart. You know, I love that smart, funny. That's very much something I very much enjoy. And I love that kind of sass a little bit and a little little bit of an edge. And we just laughed and laughed and laughed. And then we got to hear about him writing scenes at the end of that movie. And I love when we just gotta let him talk. Like another one where it's like, well, just let Neil talk.
Literally, like you just ask him a question and you just sit back and be like, just take it on it and just do what you gotta do.
Yeah. But both of them, I would have them on again in a minute. They were
Angie's posting the swan.
The swan. Angie's got the swan.
Yo.
The beautiful man neck. He's like a male swan. And
I was like, Neil. Oh my God, best friend.
No, he was amazing. It was just so it's like been this journey. Like you had said, you started out doing YouTube and then you podcast. It's like a little journey, and the people you meet along the way. So have you met Neil in person?
I did. He was one of the people I met at Christmas Con, and he's great. And I feel like he's that same way in person. Like he's mad engaging, he's funny, he's smart, he's charming. Yeah. So the guy you see on screen and that's wilding out in interviews, but that's legit him in real life. And that's why he's my next door neighbor. He's my best friend.
Exactly.
That's what I call him.
I'm lining up on your street too. I'm your neighbor. I'm in. Come on.
Let's
get in the station wagon. We're all in the minivan. Let's go.
Come on now. In that Subaru. Let's do it.
I drove a minivan for literally 20 years. 20 years.
I drove a minivan in my 20s.
Our kids drove minivans in high school.
An 86 Toyota stick shift.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I was like rolling in hot to my bartending job, you know.
Like, don't mess with me. I'm in this minivan.
It matched the wedding veil aesthetic.
There we go.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Hey, let's bring it back. So Dara, let's summarize. You have a new book out. You can get it on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
And it's called Chasing Wind. Okay, right? You have you can get it on Amazon. You can get it hardcover and an ebook, right?
Paperback and ebook.
Paperback. I own it. I know what I literally physically own it. And then you have a podcast called right?
Dear Hallmark. Yep, I have a podcast and a YouTube channel. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So you can find you on Instagram under Dear Hallmark, right?
Yes.
And your YouTube channel is also called
Dear Hallmark.
Yep. Perfect.
As well as a podcast. Yep.
We can find you there. And we are going to meet in person in June.
That's right.
And I'm going to lose my voice, and it's going to be great.
Are you going down? Do you know when you're going to go down? Was your goal to go down like Thursday before everything starts? So that'll be our goal too. Catherine and I don't. Do you have Thursday tickets? I'm pointing like Joshua now.
Are you talking to me or Dara?
Wait, is that to
I'm
me?
planning on Thursday.
Are you going on Thursday? Is that the plan?
Yeah, that's my plan too. Yep.
Catherine and I all have to figure. Catherine's in charge of getting us out of MSP down there. In the wintertime, we have these great, it's the sun flights out of the frozen tundra, right? It was minus 14 degrees this morning, minus 28 when I left for wind chill when I left for work this morning. So, we get these flights. We had like a $59 flight down and right into West Palm Beach. Yeah. That all goes away in the summer. We lose those flights because because it's beautiful.
You had
here.
way better flights than I do, and I'm way closer to Florida than you are.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was telling you, my ticket prices are like $430 to go from Philly to Palm Beach. I'm like, fam, we're 2 hours. Like, why is it?
Me, I have to like fly to Baltimore, then fly to Florida. Yes.
Well, we'll see in the summer now. Catherine and I are both like, and we can't get a direct flight now. When we could get a direct in the winter time, we can get a direct from MSP into West Palm Beach into the tiny airport. Yeah, isn't that crazy? It was like $59 down, $99 back. But whatever, we can't get that in June though. So yeah. But I can't wait to see you and Chad and everybody. Like so many people we've met along the way. So we had Jax on the podcast too, and
love her.
Cannot wait to meet Jax. Yeah.
Yep. And then and we've had Brittany Bristow. She will be down there too. And Andrew Walker, he'll be down there.
Oh, my cousin.
Your cousin Andrew.
And you got another shout out on our podcast to Andrew Walker, because I just posted that yesterday.
Right. And I forgot about that. I was like, yeah, that happened. I was just like,
what? Right. And then so it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be so much fun. We might have to, like how you got to where you are. We came out of Instagram lives, and so we probably will pop on a few short lives while we're down there too. So we'll probably grab you for one of those to say hi.
You don't have to grab me. I'll crash them.
Okay, come over. Crash our party. Let's go. It's our party.
Our party anytime. I feel like we need to have like a Thursday night like reunion dinner. Something, right?
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, we need to have a dinner of some kind on Thursday night for the people who
I
get
think
there.
the Heinies do it, so we should just do like a podcasting dinner, or we can just crash the Heinies party if Chad lets us.
Right. Chad's still around.
Chad, what say you?
Yeah. So anyways, this has been so much fun.
Yeah,
and
totally
one
fun,
of these
Dara.
days we're all gonna meet in person. And it's going to be real. And I feel like we're doing a Minnesota goodbye now. So I don't know if you know that that's a thing. We say goodbye for forever.
Yep, that's a Philadelphia goodbye too. We just stand there and be like, okay, I'm leaving.
Catherine's laughing back there. So hang out with us. Hang out with us for a minute after we finish up a little chat back there.
We'll say goodbye to everybody, and Catherine will take us out. So thank you everybody for being here with us, and thank you to Dara.